We left off in a woman's journey to self-discovery and freedom from suffering, when she had come to a hotel with Sid, who is secretly Shiva, form of the divine. And actually, our protagonist is secretly Uma, another form of the divine, but she has yet to remember who she is. She was greeted by the hotel clerk, who was talking about how the ancient philosophers and sages of India were well aware of some of the realizations of modern physics. I went in search of Himalayan Adventures Nexus, devoted to a safe mountaineering since 1931. She's on a trek up into the Himalayas, recommended by the van driver, and spent the next hour shopping for any eventuality. I had been a competent hiker in college, and in any case, this trek, as I understood it, would be a leisurely walk along a well-trodden trail with periodic rest stops at lodges, tea shops, and campsites. I returned to the Virat with several large bags. Virat is the name of this lodge. During our dinner of harmless yogic fare of boiled vegetables, brown rice, and ginger tea, I brought up the manager's absurd claims that the sages conducted thought experiments and had the math to prove their theories. They might have, Sid said. I let out a derisive snicker. Surely you're not taking him seriously. The sages had a wide range of knowledge, he rejoined. For example, they most likely did not perform surgeries per se, but they did know the exact workings of the human body. They had to have been known, otherwise how did they, 5,000 years ago, conceive of Hatha Yoga, which requires intimate knowledge of musculature, nervous systems, bone structure, the organs, etc. I prefer the scientific approach, I said complacently. Theories are postulated, then proven. Posit a proposition and verify by experiment. No theory accepted until proven. Night night, dear Mooney. Until disproven, he said. Mr. Joshi approached and regaled us with the marvels of this little town where pujas, worship in the temples, went on 24/7. Uttar Kashi never sleeps, he said, raising a finger triumphantly, like New York City. He insisted we take a walk after dinner and rattled off a number of sights not to be missed. We promised we would, and satisfied, he left us to run after one of the serving boys. The night sky was brilliant with stars, the air crisp and cold, and I was glad for my new wool socks and fur-lined boots. The famous Vishwanath temple, touted by the incomparable Mr. Joshi, was surprisingly modest. Unlike the immense stone temples of Madurai and Chennai in the south, this was a plain alpine structure with a peaked roof and a scattering of tracery. The linga, a symbol of Lord Shiva, dedicated... Not sure how my brain made up the word dedicated. I don't think it's in the sentence. The linga, symbol of Lord Shiva, indicating generative power, was reputed to not be made by human hands, but installed by the Lord of the Cosmos, Shiva himself. It tilted to the south, the direction that a youthful Lord Shiva faced when he silently imparted the Vedas, one of the earliest revelations of humanity, to the 4 elderly sages. Across from it was an even simpler temple, painted a dull rose and dedicated to Shakti, the mother goddess. A giant trident pierced the roof of its modest porch. The trident, or Trishul in Sanskrit, was Lord Shiva's weapon of choice, but this one, 1,500 years old, Mr. Joshi had stated with confidence, was wielded by Shakti, the mother goddess, in her form of an enraged Durga. When the annihilation of a demon, or perhaps an army of demons, became necessary. It was constituted of many different metals, and according to the all-knowing Mr. Joshi, when one leaned against it with all one's weight, it did not bulge, but when touched with a finger, it reverberated. I refrained from performing either experiment. That night I leafed through Mr. Joshi's pamphlet. In the main he had set down tenuous connections between the discoveries of the sages and physics, quantum entanglements, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, superposition, and Schrödinger's cat, that may be alive or dead at the same point in time. Uncertainty principle, incompleteness theorem, theory of relativity, the tentative language of modern physics. An appendix contained exercises and riddles. Exercise 1. Are the following statements discoveries of modern science are to be found in the Upanishads, composed centuries ago? A. Human observation can change physical reality. B. Time and space are not separate. C. Matter is energy. D. Particle and field are but manifestations of the unity of the universe. E. Manifested energy manifests itself and then becomes unmanifested as a perpetual vibrant process. F. Conscious observation is required to bring anything and everything into existence. G. Parallel universes are possible. H. Macrocosm is in microcosm, and microcosm is in macrocosm. And I. Past, present, and future are one. I nodded off and was immediately gripped by a force of pure fantastic energy. In a savage fury, I ripped off the trident from the roof of the Mother Goddess temple porch and made ready to hurl it. But before I could send it flying, I was jerked awake by the clanging of bells from the ashram next door. That's the end of the 11th chapter. Thank you for listening. I think our dear protagonist is almost at the at the beginning of her journey in unlocking her true identity as the Divine Mother of the universe. The precipice.